that really touches on something we should talk about, which is that what your heart has been this season of not just for someone coming on the team, like how do you get someone hyped up about this job or this opportunity or Valor, but how do you stay in love with a place where you're just a barista? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Valor Coffee Podcast. We have an epic episode at hand. One of our most tenured guests, Lillabea Goins, joins me as we talk about some more service philosophies and we reflect on the field trip that the Alpharetta team went on, some of those big takeaways. And man, it got a little gushy. Not gonna lie, a little sentimental, honestly, just thinking about what we do, the purpose behind why, what makes for a consistent experience. It was really sweet time. So excited for you guys to listen to that. And as always, shout out to Clive Coffee. They're giving us 5% off on all Luca and Eureka products. So check that out. Use code VALOR5 at checkout. As always, thanks for listening to the podcast. Something really cool is always when people come to the shop and just give a word of encouragement that they listen and they enjoy it and it means a lot to them. So thank you. Thank you for all the encouragement. So whether you come to the shop and say it or leave a review or whatever it is, we just appreciate the community that's being built around this thing of just growing and trying to make coffee awesome, make coffee service awesome, hospitality, whatever it is. So we appreciate all of you. So thank you and enjoy the show. Do you need anything before we start? You need cream?
No.
Creamer? French vanilla creamer?
Crazy. This tastes great.
Do you know what coffee it is?
Mm-mm. Is it one of ours?
I wonder. This is a really hard coffee to guess what it is, honestly. Yeah. The only thing that gives it away is that like grapefruit to it, where it's just like gets you.
I loved that sound.
Everything else is like this. If you don't know what you're getting into, it's like a good high quality coffee, but it's the churroso.
Oh,
the hombres lot.
Nice.
Yeah, we just. I feel like the cafes in their heads and in my head feel like it's just gone, but it's still around. Like we don't order the boxes. We like barely have it on the back stock for orders. I think everybody's just moved on to the Rwanda, Bichize Hamwe, and the tan lines.
Yeah.
It's dominant. Those are powerful coffees. Hey, welcome to the Valor Coffee Podcast. Uh-oh. Sorry for the phone call if anybody can hear that. That's just Riley's wife calling him. Probably tell him that she loves him.
Oh.
I can only imagine. Are you the type of person after you hang up with your husband, you always have to say, I love you? Or is
after,
it like,
or
like,
while?
Like while you're talking, it's like, I love you, bye.
Yeah.
Respect.
You don't do that?
Of course I do that.
What would you
with
say?
My
just
wife.
Bye?
Well, yeah, sometimes like if you're calling your spouse multiple times a day.
Oh, yeah, always.
Sometimes it's like, if there's like a quick recall and you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye.
It's to the point where Zion will call me back and say, you didn't say that you love me. Or like, I hung up as I was saying I love you, but I want you to hear me say I love you. So it's like another just 30-second call saying like, okay, I love you too, bye.
That's precious.
It's like never a text either. It's a full call.
Just gotta call him back. You're already, phone's nearby.
Yeah. I
don't know if we talked about this on air or if you have mentioned this about me, but I feel like I'm a chronic hang up too early guy.
You're speedy with that.
I just don't know how to like get off the phone well. And we have some really long-winded people. Like I'm thinking about Sam Harless. Getting off a phone call with him is epic because he's like, all right, man, love you so much. You're such a great guy. All right, hey, I'll see you around. It was so good hanging out with you. So good talking to you. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
But I'll work on it. Hey, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Lillabea Goins, 5 times? 6 times?
I do not know.
Have we lost count?
I am not trying to count, but if I tried, I'm sure I haven't lost it.
Hey, well, seriously, it's epic to have you back.
Thank you.
as you can tell, I'm working on bringing back the word epic and all skibbity no toilet.
Wow, I haven't heard that.
You haven't heard all skibbity no toilet?
No.
Well, that's going to change. There's probably going to be like some youngsters coming in saying it.
Really?
Because it's really on the cutting edge.
I will personally document it if anyone says that to me casually in this life.
It could happen at least at work,
Okay, sure.
Do you remember the last time you were on the program?
Was it the one with Joey and Paul?
I don't know.
I think it was.
What's happened since then for you? Was that like a few months ago?
That was months ago. A lot has happened since then. Do you want me to just talk about like where the cafe's at right now?
That sounds great. Yeah, you've been a head coach of the 44 Milton Avenue Cafe, Valor's first one for well over a year now.
Yeah, that's true. It's been awesome. We've had a lot of turnover recently, but it's been a really precious season where like people should be leaving or they should be returning or they should be scaling back and preparing for their new season. But you confidently said last week or the week before at our Tuesday leader meeting that like the company's never been in a better place. And
Totally.
It was crazy because Sophia came back. Uh-oh, she's back.
She's back. What's up?
She had like a 7-month excursion to Harley Davidson in Tennessee, and we bless it, and we thought it was awesome. But she's back because she's obsessed with Valor.
Oops.
And she could speak to it more herself, but she was like, I've just never worked in a better environment. I've never felt more purpose in my work environment. I've never had better leaders or just like direct authorities in a workplace. Uh-oh.
She's talking about you.
And you.
Oh.
And she was like, I just want to go back to that. And yesterday while she was working, she was like, today feels like I'm playing, but I'm getting paid for it. Like I know I'm working hard. And she was the 8 to 4. She's like scrubbing things, she's cleaning things, she's stuck in the dish pits, whatever. But she's just so moved to be there because she loves what she does. And there's so much love in the space itself, so much hope in the space itself and light and joy. But then she said, unprompted, she was like, yeah, on Monday I was telling Ethan and Sam, which is so cool because me, you, and Sam would have been her old leaders in different forms, And she just said, unprompted, that she just confidently feels like Valor's never been better and that she never thought that returning to a company, she wouldn't have like critical eyes or want things to be different. Because they're getting worse or degressing. She was like, everything's just enhancing. Like everything's getting better. And it was down to like new jars that I got for chicken salad.
Well, that's what's so funny is when you think about like, what are the tangible and intangibles that make up that statement? A lot of it's just like a little bit of care.
Yeah.
A continuous showing of a little bit of care of like, you know what? I think we need new by the
Forks.
cup dosing containers.
Yeah, that too.
I think we're running low on plates. We should buy new plates, new forks. We need to get a jar for the chicken salad. How can we like make whatever system we were doing a little bit better? And especially when you leave and come back and you notice, because I think we talk about it on the pod off and on, but like I feel like there is really no coast, right? Like things either get worse or better, more or less. I mean, especially just the natural entropy of a business. It's like your equipment will wear out if you don't take care of it. Your plates will break if you don't replace them and take care of them. And so it's like you always have a choice of like, do I keep refreshing? Do we have like another deep
and
clean?
Leveling up.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
Not just getting back to where we were, but trying to get past it.
Yeah.
That is really cool that she had eyes for that and had voice to say it.
Yes.
It's definitely one of our undercover things in our culture. You could even call it a service philosophy, but see it, say it.
Yes. Yeah.
Of like, man, if you're feeling something or you're noticing something either in a guest or a teammate or your authority, it's like, please share. Please say it.
Yes.
You know, there's so much up here and in our hearts that it's so worth getting out there and building up one another.
Something the boys have been talking about behind bar.
Like Joey and Aiden and
Liam when he was here, and I'm sure Sam would jump in. And Gavin probably has jumped in. Who knows? There's only a few boys, so those are all the boys. But they've been talking about how girls are so vocal, even just on the surface level of like, your outfit's so cool, or your hair is awesome, or you're so beautiful. Like, I very casually and confidently both receive that and give that. Like, not just that someone looks cool, but that they are beautiful, or like, I recently just told someone, you are so intelligent, you know, just things like that I feel like can roll off my tongue pretty easily. But Joey was the main voice. He was like, I just feel that there's a huge difference in female culture and male culture in that way. Because men maybe will say you have the coolest truck, or like, what a car, what a whatever.
Your muscles look good. Men are always talking about the bod.
Sometimes, I guess, but even our gym rats were like, yeah, nobody really says anything, do they? Like, what I would do for someone to just compliment me. And they were just being cheeky and kind of laughing about it, but I was like, oh, dagger to the heart.
That's real.
There's a deprived space in this world. And so I think that encouraged me to see it, say it to men in an appropriate way more often.
Yeah.
And also to encourage them. Like, if I'm speaking that to my team in a safe way, then those men can say it to other men. I don't have to be telling this random guy that I'm serving. I don't have to confuse him with my compliment.
Dude, you've been going to the gym?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice gains up top.
They're like, what?
You're like,
What? Yeah, but if we empower our team internally, then the people that should be meeting those people will have the eyes and the know-how, but also like the confidence, because I feel like a lot of people don't see it, say it, if they feel like it's so messed up, but it's like, I don't have enough myself. So they feel like it would deprive them if they told someone how awesome they were.
Whoa.
Like they would be even less awesome to tell someone how awesome they are.
Whoa.
And to turn eyes in a group or a room or even just a small interaction to another person means eyes are off you, which can be really scary for more insecure people.
Dude, and there's nothing there that happens, especially behind the bar, if someone's acting out in that insecurity of like, if someone's hyping someone else up. I'm sure you've witnessed someone be like, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, there's other people here. I'm like, whoa, okay. Looks like we got some loving on to do.
Yeah.
Because people need to know how much they're valued at work and just for who they are as people. That's cool about the guys. And man, I mean, if anybody lives that out, it's our guy Sam. Such a vocal encourager.
It's true,
yeah. So if you're listening to this, Sam, you're epic, bro. Well, what's been going on in the cafe though? How's leadership? How's calling people higher? Do you feel like in this past year you've seen, what battles have you been fighting? What's getting better? What's hard?
Yeah, we went through a pretty intense. We really went over the hump, which is awesome, and then we went into a season of deep celebration in June and July. But like by the end of spring, there's some kind of spring cleaning going on in some of the hearts of like my main like full-time, fully in, been there for well over a year leaders in the cafe.
Oh,
do you remember that? It was like every single one of them were deeply struggling internally.
That really touches on something we should talk about, which is that what your heart has been this season of not just for someone coming on the team, like how do you get someone hyped up about this job or this opportunity or Valor?
Yeah.
But how do you stay in love with a place where you're just a barista? You know, what does that look like for someone to change their heart or change their perspective on like, this is just a job now? Like the glamour of I work at Valor Coffee.
It's faded.
That's faded. They've wiped that rag too many times over it, and it's like, yeah, this is my job.
It's funny though. It goes from a glamour and a sparkle and this like rose-colored glasses to this like deep loyalty and like pride. So I guess that's how a long-term marriage starts to turn into that like fine wine, you know? You're staying in something, so you have so much footing. You know what I mean? Like you can do anything. You have a voice. It's a small business. You know your leaders. You know your owners. You can push the parameters around you and push the edges for the better.
Yeah.
And you have authority, I think, really. So it like ages well if it's fostered well. And I think that's what most of my team needed. If we were to boil it down, if I were to take personal emotion out of it and their emotions out of it, I think people want to push and feel their leader. Even kids do this with their parents, but they just want to know where they belong and that what they're doing is worthwhile. And I think a lot of them just needed like fresh purpose spoken over them. And there was a deep depravity of like deeply feeling seen. And I'm thinking of these three people who are all like great, huge personalities for us. And they're beautiful people. They're funny people. They're very charismatic, extremely loving, all selfless, and life of the party in their own ways. Like seriously, these three are just so like branded with that. Like anyone could see that. So I was so startled to back hear this like inner agony that was going on. One person had a new job opportunity, which I think is always healthy to reassess where you're going. Totally. One person was internally struggling just in their personal life. And so that was bleeding into their work life because they were feeling totally unseen in their family and struggling in communication and apathy in their family. And then the other person was scaling back in work so that they could pursue school and like their big dreams. But externally, when they were at Valor, they were the life of the party. They were loving life, but they were never actually giving people true feedback. And they were totally neglecting their leadership, as in like post-shift debriefs, going into opens and like sharing truly where you are in your life and like the high-low that we encourage on open specifically, and being a leader, like being a point too. So like pointing people to feedback all the time. And it's funny because those three people all needed different amounts of gentle pressure, but there was like a lot of selfishness going on and like really just looking at themselves and hypocrisy, like not looking fully at the team. Really for two of those more than the one. But it was really cool to like just sit down and love each person. And what I'm finding as a leader is like, it's so important, and you've done this really well with me, but to like freely not be scared when someone is honestly just trying to talk to you. Like these people weren't quitting in that moment. You know, and actually they love Valor so much that that's why they were coming to their leader with like tears in their eyes, saying like, this is so hard for me right now. Yeah. Or like for one person, there weren't tears in their eyes. They were really actually tough and apathetic. And I just looked at them after they gave me all these reasons why they should eventually quit, but they're staying. I was like, where is your tenderness? You are such a tender person. And I started crying, and then they started crying. And the person was just like, oh my goodness, that is like generations worth of my family's coping mechanism. When they're about to leave something, they harden and they find all the reasons why they should quit, and then they quit. But I wasn't fully able to do that because I love this space, and I love and had like a list of people that they really, really love and respect. Yeah. And that person was just able to be so tender so instantly, which was crazy. Like from really hard, this long list of qualms with every single person. And I went through every person and humanized them. And I was like, this person is going through this right now. This person is going through this right now. Context. And you're saying you want people to have eyes up and to see our customers and never show favoritism in our customer base. But right now you're showing favoritism to only a few of our internal, like you're doing the thing that you're frustrated with, but it's internal instead of external. So that is hypocrisy, but you don't have to be like that. You can just be communicating with the team. We need your voice. Like that's true. I can see pieces of that being legit.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be called out of their comfort zone and to like deeply bond with people that they wouldn't normally be bonding with. You know, we all kind of have our pockets and our niches and our bags or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But like we want to be like, look at everyone as John Cena, as the next Elvis, as the next whatever. Like we want everyone to feel famous in our space.
Yeah.
So that heart was precious, but it turned bitter and sour because there was resentment that was unspoken, you know? And so that person is like totally restored all over again. And our team is flourishing. But I think without knowing it, a lot of our team was like building off of this really toxic, scary thought that they were the only one that was being deprived of affirmation, of love, of... It's funny, a lot of the people that I'm mentioning just got like a pay raise too. So like they were just so honored in their workspace. But I think it's just funny. We are so forgetful. We really need to remember and practice remembrance. So the field trip was so good because we just entered into this season of like so much fun and excitement. We did Women of Valor, Men of Valor, 4th of July in our backyard with most of the Valor people. And then we went to the field trip, and the field trip was so good because we just played like kids and we did a million things. But at the end of the day, the question was like, why do you love Valor? How has Valor changed people's lives around you? And so like story after story came up for well over an hour of like the deep life change that has happened in our cafe, both as a team, of course, but mostly as a customer base. And like people were just doing because we don't remember who someone was a year or 2 or 3 ago when they first walked in, or even like months ago, you know?
Yeah.
Sophia's been good for me because her returning has made me think about how much has happened in the last 7 months. Isn't that cool? So much has happened.
It's wild.
We have new regulars,
Yep.
and old regulars have transformed, and people have moved, and I don't know, people have had babies. Like real life is happening in 7 months.
I know. I have so many things to say about what you said, but maybe you could touch on what you did for Sophia.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like, you know, this is one of the first times in my memory of like someone worked with us for a while, moved on, came back. And this is not like protocol. In my mind, I'm just like, oh yeah, hey, welcome back. Maybe we can just catch up, walk behind the bar together, make sure you know everything. But you went above and beyond for her and like reacclimating to the space by making a reorientation.
Yeah.
Like a whole new thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was really fun. I haven't been able to present it to her yet.
Well, she's not. She's probably not going to hear this for a couple weeks. So
It's true.
I was banking on, you got
true.
2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I'll still tell you all about it. It's really fun. I had a lot of fun with it. But it's I just wanted to be honest with our listeners and say that I haven't done it quite yet because her first day was on my first off day of the week.
Yeah.
But yes, I made a reorientation slideshow, which I guess for some businesses that would be making a very bougie service philosophy, reacclimation, the dose, the grind, the whatever, you know what I mean? And maybe I can add some cherries on top of things that...
Hey, we filter the coffee shots now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is some true reacclimation that can be done. But what I wanted to do was delight her and just make her laugh and take her into present it as if it's serious and say like, yeah, I'm spending an hour with you. Like you're going to get paid some like off bar time right now to be reoriented. And like, we just really want you to be a part of the team and blah, you know what I mean? And like still hold our culture and our values, and those things can slip away. But then like out the gate, it's just really silly things. And I have a list of 15 updates on our personnel. So it's not really the team. It's like all of our regulars
Just a community update.
It's a total deep community update. And it's like one of our regulars is getting lattes now. He's only ever gotten cortados. We don't know what's happening.
Who?
It's Josh. Josh Dower. He's really changing it up. It's beautiful. We really
still half calf with almond milk though.
Still half calf. It's not unsweetened though. It's just almond milk.
Dude's changing.
He's a girl dad. You know, we're like putting stuff out there. But there's someone who's building an elevator for his wife, which is so cool. And there's just people that I just had to mention. So I was like, they are still perfect.
They're still around.
They're still perfect. Absolutely perfect. No qualms. Angels amongst us. But then there's things like, I think you're going to actually give a more detailed story on this, but obviously John Cena needed 2 or 3 slides on our reorientation because that's just such a delight and so silly. But truly, I am proud of the team, and I'm sure you'll save that for another time. But what else is on there? We have Oatly versus Minor Figures, which is organic oat milk. It's a house divided out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Dunwoody, it's all just like, this is the oat milk we have. But working some bar shifts in Alpharetta, people are like, I'll have that. I'll have this oat latte made with Oatly.
Made with Oatly, yes.
Like, okay.
We allow it though. And we still buy the Oatly because we're like, if you like this more, honestly, like, let's just keep blessing you, you know?
Well, we already did buy 2 oat milks. Now we just have 2 different oat milks.
It's true. And the old one was accommodating to a very small crowd as well.
Yes. One person.
It turned into 2 people.
Respect. The reorientation is kind of epic. It's really cool.
I hope it's like such a formal presentation.
You're saying that, but you showed me. It's pretty goofy.
Okay, I made it goofy. It's like something that I totally edited. But I think maybe instead of formal, it's legit.
It's legit.
It's a very
well done.
Yes, like you could present that in front of many people and people would be like, there was some time spent on this.
This is fair.
Which is true. There were a few hours of my admin over the last few weeks that were devoted to it.
Hey, and look, that's a worthy investment in the team.
Yes.
It's probably a one-of-one use, but you'll have it forever.
That's true. It is so good though because it was more than just Sophia I was investing in. It was really cool. Anyone that went on their breaks that specific day, which it was a Friday, so I was like getting like 6 people outside of myself, which is most of our team, you know? And whenever they sat down, I was like, all right. And I gave them the lowdown. Total delight. Everyone was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. So it's sweet to like boost that morale too and know
help people.
Help remember. I was about to say that, but like even just to remember, we do just serve coffee, but you can bring purpose into it and like a sense of family, which is so powerful. But I was allowing our team one by one to tell me their update, like their personal update. There's a lot of personal updates on there. But then there's also like some of the team. Joey was a great source of information. He probably shared 7 of the 15 like the regular updates, you know? It was so awesome.
Connected.
He's so connected. But he didn't know he remembered things until his memory was jogged, which was so cool. And that was how most of the people were. I would say something, then they would say something, then I would say, oh my goodness, this also happened, you know? It was really, really cool. And we are seeing people blossom before us. Like people that were coming in so tightly wound or so closed off or so cool are now so relaxed, so not cool anymore, just like goofing off with us, hanging out. It's just beautiful. Like there has been a metamorphosis and the time span has been only 7 months, which is so cool.
It's so cool. I feel like there's something to like, we should start a tradition of taking like a picture of someone on their first day and their last day. I was just even thinking about some of our team members that came in more closed off. And more timid or more, I don't know, insecure, honestly.
There's a long list.
And then they leave and they're just bubbly.
Goofballs.
Filled
with passion. Yeah.
They're like looking to change wherever they're going next, which is so sweet. We talk about that a lot. Of that whole river, like we want people to go, like you're saying. But I want to hear more about the field trip for sure, and what were the gold nuggets that were found there. But I did want to just get back to maybe what you were experiencing, just because, the cafe's been open for like 5 years now. And so there's kind of been different groups of people going down the Valor River.
Mm-hmm.
And there really is something to around that like 2-year mark, maybe 2-3 years where you're like, you're not the new guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're the veteran that has to like kind of carry the culture.
Yeah.
And even if you're not even in leadership, you're just like working on the team, it can get so isolating.
Yep.
If you don't like talk and share, and like, I guess a lot of it, maybe like a relationship, you're having to reckon with, I've noticed how we're still fighting these similar battles when I started,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do I keep fighting or do I just give up? Or,
Wow.
And on top of that too, it's like, especially when we're, the last 3 or 4 years where there were veterans, where people were coming on, that's when you start creating these like golden ages, of like,
Yeah.
oh man, remember when like these people were all here? And it's like, yeah, because that's when you were the new person and they were carrying all the weight
That's so
of
real.
like the culture and who we are, and like honestly just like the energy. And then when it starts to shift towards you, you're looking at all the newbies and you're like, what are all these scrubs doing here? I'm like, well, they're thinking that you're the person that's holding it down.
Yeah.
And you are.
Yeah.
But it just feels different,
Mm-hmm.
And to reflect and be like, we are better than we've ever been.
Yes.
And
so
yet,
cool.
And yet there's so many beautiful seasons of like, oh, remember that time.
Mm-hmm.
Such a tension to hold of like, that was amazing. This is also even more amazing now.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
What do you do with it? On the field trip, we practiced remembrance, which was really perfect. It was perfect timing. It was the perfect space. We went from Valor, where the 3 owners did a bar takeover and did an 8 to 2.
Huge shift.
Yeah, huge shift.
It was so busy.
They were bummed because it actually wasn't busy enough for their liking. They were ready to get.
I was ready for a beatdown.
Yeah.
But, hey, when the whole staff came in, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was
Y'all were
awesome.
in it.
We were
And
ripping.
hey, the entire patio was full and the entire space was full. We had to use like the neighbors' tables, which was awesome. But we had breakfast together. We had a Christmas in July. We had a Santa box left over from my grandmother. Always doesn't wrap gifts. She just uses those like already made boxes with like sparkly things on it,
Smart.
So, but I always feel bad getting rid of them because they're like expensive boxes. So I reused it. It has a huge sparkly smiling rosy cheek Santa, and I fit everyone's gifts in it. And I would just reopen the Santa box and let someone put their hand in, and we'd say, that one's for, and then we'd toss it to the person. And it was so funny. This is such a side note, but it's so fun being the one in charge in moments like that because you're setting the temperature. And I made a bunch of adults say thank you, Santa. And everyone said, thank you, Santa. And I just delighted. Like that just made me laugh so hard because I was like, why are we on the patio right now where all of our regulars can hear us screaming, hooting and hollering, reopening the sparkly Santa box for another kid to.
Were you catching eyes? People just looking over?
But
like,
people were so delighted. Like they came over and said, this is just so fun. I love to see this, But we did that, and then we drove to Sidetrack, which has gotten some airtime. So if you don't know what it is, please look it up. It's a beautiful space.
Episodes.
It's magic. It is perfection in an imperfect way. And they have a beautiful team who has also experienced a lot of turnover in this year. And yeah, there really is this essence of like deep presence and magic and intentionality and heart that like is different than the way it's expressed in Valor, but it is the same heart. It's kind of like siblings in the same family. You dress differently, maybe play different sports, you married totally different people, but when you get together, there really is just something about your family. You carry this feeling, So whenever we all get together, it's just a really precious, fun, goofy, intentional, heartwarming. Like it's both light and deep at the same time. So we did that for our field trip last year, which was awesome.
So nice. You did it twice.
Yeah, actually. And this year we went to the cafe for a few hours and we're just delighted. We were served instead of serving other people, which that is a gift. To be in a space that holds, valor. We do hold ourselves to a high standard. And hopefully I hope that there's a day when there's no exceptions to this, but I'm sure there have been a few accidents here and there where someone wasn't like totally just mind blown by their interaction. But I hope that they were. I hope I'm wrong. But Sidetrack's one of those places where I don't think someone's leaving that building without being like moved greatly and deeply. Like I've never been there. Like the music, the rainfall or the sunshine, everything is just like romantic. It's very special. It's a very special place. And maybe that is the feeling people get in Valor. But to be in a space where you feel called higher and where you like, it's good to be around people that are better than you. And to be around people that you think are just out of your league, But then they're mutually thinking that, because after we were served, we went to this old, David, the owner of Sidetrack, brought us to, he said he used to play football on this field. It's like an old football field. And it was totally Friday Night Lights vibes, like old abandoned small town, Alabama, little football field with the sun beaming down. We meant to play kickball, but we ended up playing like jackpot. Yeah. It was really fun. And
nobody got hurt?
No one got hurt. Praise God. I had a great slide too. You would have loved it. It was crazy. But Sam's competitive nature took over and he stole it from me. I was like, after that perfect slide, bro, you couldn't have just given it to me. But anyways, then we had a big we played more games, but we had a big sandwich feast, which is so funny. It was so all-American.
What was on your sandwich?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me remember. I think I did New Zealand cheddar.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I did. There's a dill pickle mustard from Trader Joe's that just caught my eye. I put real dill on there too. We had greens. I don't know what greens, probably spinach I put on there. I think I put prosciutto and ham on it because I was feeling crazy.
Yep.
Pickles, obviously.
A
lot of dill and pickle.
That's a lot of dill.
I love it though. I'm in my dill era. And then probably mayo. I don't know. And then we had a lot of other sides that I kept being like, oh, I should have put that on. So I kept putting like a random thing on my bites. Dude, do you know what I mean? Like there was a tomato bite because I was like, I forgot tomatoes. There's just extra bites in there. Some chip bites, obviously.
Oh, putting a chip on a sandwich. Woo.
There is this crazy, I wish I remember what it was called, but it was the crowd pleaser. Should have gotten 3 bags of it. It was a chip from Trader Joe's. Never seen it. Might be one of their summer seasonals. Oh, no. It tastes like the Chick-fil-A sauce, which is crazy to say. But it's just like a potato chip, one of those crunchy, like ridged ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone was freaking out over it. Like, This is we were making sure that everyone was there on time to try the last few crumbs. Like, seriously, their whole team needed to try it. The Sidetrack team was equally delighted.
Run, don't walk to your local Trader Joe's.
I know.
Try to find the chip.
I think it's called like Carolina barbecue, something like that.
Oh.
Did you try it?
We have a bag at the house.
And do you like it? Uh-oh.
Hey.
Maybe just compared to the other ones, it was just so good.
I mean, it's an epic chip. That's more Meredith's speed than mine, but.
The chatter was pretty crazy, though. People were into it.
So you do the sandwich feast.
Yep. And then, David, there is a truth to, like, when you're a team's leader, and I'm sure my mom used to talk about this too, like, there is a power to a different voice speaking into you.
Yeah.
And they can say the same things, but in their voice, and it is just more powerful. Mm-hmm. And I just want to look at that as a gift instead of being envious of other leaders that get to speak into my team.
Yeah.
But I was just so delighted. I told David, like, you just have a special way with words, and you're a thinker, and you ponder on things that really matter. And we had a few talks on like what his team needed to hear, what my team needed to hear. And it's so beautiful. It always lines up. Last
Always
year
the
it
same
lined
thing.
up. This year, it's that same heart, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, he was talking about the power of being present and really fighting to be present, no matter where your mind is, to go in. He has this beautiful coworker who just says, be here with me, be here. That's all he says, be here. And then like, where are you at? These like little gentle questions that have so much meaning and invite like a deep answer, not a small answer. Like, how are you? Unfortunately, that's just so like standard ops and robot mode now, you know?
It's evolved into just a greeting.
Yeah,
Hey, how
it
are
is. Totally. And it means nothing. I see that all the time. And I have to stay unoffendable when I say, how are you to a customer even, and they're just like, good, I'm like, that's not what I meant by that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to rephrase it and slow people down too.
I know. I keep saying what's going on.
Yeah.
What's going on today. But that unfortunately keeps people thinking like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, we're not there
That's
yet.
so true.
Hold on.
Yeah. I've experienced that too. I think we all steal things from each other. I probably stole that from you because I've been saying that too.
Hey, what's going on?
And some people will understand what I'm saying, but a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm looking at that Americano, you know. I'm like, okay, but what are you doing today?
Mhm.
You know.
Who are you today?
Yeah.
Who are we getting?
Whoa, crazy question.
That's weird.
But yeah, David talked about presence, and he was like, I've been doing this for 11 years, and I need people around me to ask me where I am, and I need people to ground me, and I need people to remind me like where I am. And he started talking about this quote, he also didn't know who it was from, but I wish I did, and I'm
Maybe
sorry.
one of our listeners will know.
Yeah, you can even Google it. I bet AI will know.
You can't Google it. You just gotta know.
This is the paraphrase of his paraphrase, but it was something along the lines of the most holy and divine moment is the present moment. And he just repeated it a few times because he was like, really think about that. Right now, you could either mentally be, you know, back home because we're sitting in a field, sweaty, stuff in our faces, and Sammy's talking about, you know, people that have been transformed by valor. And I think he was trying to jog their love for valor again, which memory just does that. Memory does that in relationships, in marriage, in families, but it totally does that in your workplace too. And yeah, then the presence thing was a call to like not just remember the old, but stay deeply connected to and committed to the present moment. Because if you're not present, like your mind can be in a million places, but if you're not just where your feet are, you're going to miss out on a really special moment. And that, it's funny because saying that was like, oh, can I share another story? And the stories came back of like how people have been transformed by valor, which was so cool. Like, and then there was another call, and David just really blew me away with this, and it convicted me even on the phone calls leading up to the field trip. But he was like, I've just been freshly thinking about and convicted on like, if I'm not loving, it's garbage. What am I doing if I'm not loving? If I pour a drink and it's perfect, but it's not with love, it's worth nothing. If I have a conversation, but it's self-seeking and it's not out of love, it's worth nothing. The list goes on, and it was all applicable to the service industry and to being a barista specifically. If I close and do the closing tasks so excellently, but in my heart, I'm just mad at the person who didn't close well with me. I'm overcompensating for their work. You know, I'm starting to put words in his mouth, but those are ways that we can do something well, but it's not out of love.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's worth nothing. And then he said this beautiful thing, and we've been talking about it a lot. But he said, love travels at the speed of 30 seconds. It's not 30 minutes. It's not 30 hours. It's not 30 years. It doesn't take 3 hours to wow someone or intentionally sit with someone and know their entire life story to love them. It takes 30 seconds if you're doing it right. If you're presently in that divine moment, then it takes 30 seconds. And I've felt that before by a stranger.
Yeah.
And I've noticed in someone's eyes that, especially on Saturdays, the energy is high and crazy. And I've been doing that like crazy rush when I'm on surge from it'll be the 9 to 11. So you're getting like sometimes 55 customers or like at least transactions per hour,
Yeah.
you know?
Just over one a minute.
Yeah.
That's a short window.
It's very short. Yeah, we're trying to get in as many people as possible and delight each person so intentionally. And I see it. It's crazy. Like, I think that in my mind it doesn't work. But if you're looking at someone with eyes of love and talking with a heart of love, and those few things you get to say are filled with joy or hope or peace even, and like curiosity. People, we were talking about how we're just tearing up lately.
Oh.
You should talk about that, Ethan.
Well, it's just, man, it's tender up there at Surge Island. You're taking orders. I've just been thinking, I mean, it's funny that that's what you guys were talking about, because it is like, I could just be joking around, but those moments when I really choose to step into like an authentic moment of like servanthood or service to another person, and I'm like, the world just kind of closes out and it's just like, wow, I'm here with this person for this moment. And I get to bless them in any way that I can. I'm just like, I can't finish my sentences. I'm starting to tear up just thinking about how sweet that opportunity is. And I was thinking too, like just the gifts when appropriate of like, especially in Dunwoody, I just get to like dap up the people coming in, like touch, like fist bump.
Oh, yeah.
Handshake, whatever it is, around the shoulder, like, so good to see you. And I think about how powerful and like how skilled someone like David is too. And that like, it's true that 30 seconds of like, I'm going to lock eyes.
Yes.
I'm going to be like, hey, I see you. And then it's like, all right, now I'm going to keep going. But just know that like, I'm for you and I love you. And it's like, that's all I needed.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
Yeah.
And I feel taken care of. I feel seen, cared for, related to, all those things that we go for. I feel uplifted, done. It's because it's like love is in the eyes, And it's just, we talk about eyes up. It's like, how are you going to look at someone if you don't have your eyes up?
Yes. Yeah.
We're going through.
Impossible.
Yeah. Some would say impossible, unless someone, contorts their head in a way that makes space for that. But, man, yeah, we were talking about it last week too. Consistency is everything, and it's my question that I've kind of been chewing on is like, okay, in the rush, in the dead spaces, how do you give a consistent experience? Oh, it's so corny, but so true. It really is like, are you serving with love?
Yeah.
Because it's going to look different when there's 3 people in line, when there's 5 people in line, when I'm working on a team of 3, when I'm working on a team of 4, when I'm like solo barring, when someone's on break. The way I can like tangibly serve someone is going to be like slightly different every time. I'm not going to get the water every time, or I'm not going to be able to pre-bus the table every time. But if I do whatever I'm doing with like pure love and like intention to like take care of that person in the space and be a host, I think it's going to get the message across, even if, and Riley helped me remember, like, even when stuff's going wrong, it can clarify that even more, because people are like, oh, look at how these people are able to carry themselves in light of like hardship or like
that happens all the time.
When a drip pot's everywhere or something.
The opa and the laugh and the teamwork.
Things break and it's like, wow, they're still doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's even further like, oh, they must really like each other. They like this space. It's funny when people are like, what is it? What's that?
Wait, I know we have probably
producers waving us off
3
soon.
minutes. But that reminds me to kind of tie a ribbon all around this little gift that we're wrapping right now. The answer, I think, to that, and we talked about it with David and his team too, was like, it genuinely is easier to fall in love than to stay in love. And your question is basically that, like, how do you do that? How do you sustain love? And I was comparing it to marriage and how, like, in friendship, long-term friendship, to like celebrate each other is so important to revive love, to remember the best times, and to remember the best qualities, and to keep that on the forefront of your mind, of your team, instead of those like lingering maybe bad
Or I
habits.
wish they would just quit doing that.
Yes, because you can get stuck in that, or you can see this person's just growing. They're in process. To stay patient with your team, to stay patient with your loved ones, to let them grow before you, and to stay patient with yourself, and to stay tender. There's a lot there. There's a lot you could say, but I think staying present, looking at the present as the most divine moment, and remembering, just like simply remembering that love is the ultimate thing. Like, what are we doing if we're not loving? We're not leaving a legacy. And then we also went into legacy a lot, which was so just perfect to end the night with. But yeah, that river that we've talked about, like some will come faster through that little bend on the river than others. Some will stay a little longer. Some will float on by. Some will get stuck on a little log, and against their will, they'll stay a little longer and be refined in that little like pressure they feel, and they'll be smooth a little longer, like a rock that stays in one spot for a long time. Yeah, there's a lot you could say there. There's so much. And I've been here for 4 years, so I do feel that I've gotten smooth, rounder, like softer edges. And yeah, there's just so much I could say to my own growth. But to look at each other and to honor and respect each other, and to see that the people around you are legacy builders. And I pointed at almost everyone in our circle, and I was like, this person will write a book. This person will be a police officer. This person, like, we are looking at many mothers, many fathers, many leaders, many influencers in many spaces. We're looking at people who will stay in the service industry, and people who are probably going to go be an entrepreneur in a way we could have never imagined, because we're just brewing coffee right now, you know? And I was like, to look at each other as if by the time we're 90, Lord willing, we can still reflect and gather together and be like, how did we start at a coffee shop? How did it begin there? You know, but it mattered. Like, that was our stepping stone. So to honor and to look at that space as meaningful enough to be here and to stay rooted and get as much as you can out until you're supposed to leave. I felt like that. It was just falling back in love for everyone.
And when you get out the most, it's because you put out and you gave, you know?
Yeah.
You gave so much of yourself to the space, no longer withholding. And it's such a cool introspection to leave with the squad, our listeners. What kind of legacy are you leaving where you are, you know? Because there's nothing wrong with moving on to something else, but, you know, the way you do one thing is the way you'll do the next thing. So it's like, are you stewarding these opportunities that you have at hand right now? And it'll lead to the next.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing with us. I know our time has come to a close.
It always does.
It always does. But we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And bye. Last time I closed last week with all skibbity, no toilet, so I won't do that this time. So I'll just say bye.
Bye.
Hey, Grayson.
Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, baby. Cape. Baby Cape.